What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Nebraska fan perspective as a part of the Play the Fight Song college football family. Man, it's good to be back. 3-0. Nebraska defeats Houston Christian 59-7. Another great offensive performance, a lot of reps for a lot of young guys, and a win over an opponent, which we should do exactly what we did. So not to take too much away from that, but we'll recap that game with some brief thoughts before we preview Michigan tonight, as it is time to start Big Ten conference play in 2025. How exciting for the fan base, for college football, really. The conference season to kick off is really good. Create some interesting matchups. Should have been possibly a debate on a ranked matchup this weekend in Lincoln, but it wasn't, and that's fine. It's a chance for Nebraska to get a win over a ranked opponent, to create some of the narrative the opposite way. Obviously, you've heard the thoughts on MattRhule against ranked opponents, and it's constantly used against us. Great opportunity this weekend to flip the narrative. With the Michigan Wolverines coming into town, which we'll preview tonight. If you've never been a part of the show before, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video if you're a Nebraska football fan. Appreciate you so much in advance for doing that. Talk a couple of our partners, but we're going to preview the Michigan Wolverines tonight. You have your thoughts on Nebraska, your breakdowns, your takes. I'll share mine through the show, but really we're going to focus on Michigan. I'm going to tell you about their players, their size, where they're from, what they're going to do. I went back, watched all of their games. That's what I do. I'm one of the sickos, so I appreciate you listening, but we're going to talk mostly Michigan tonight. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Drop a score prediction in the comments. You'll have a chance to win a free No Rivals cap, which you can see a bunch behind me right now, or the Herbie one I'm wearing. We did have a winner last week, which we'll get into when it comes time to talk No Rivals, but make sure you drop that score prediction at the end of the video. All right, let's go into last week. Houston Christian, inferior opponent. We did what we were supposed to do. This recap of the Houston Christian game is brought to you by Full Ride Vintage Gear, our great partner here. FullRideVintageGear.com. Check their shirts out today. They have over 25 designs out there. It's officially licensed and partnered with the University of Nebraska. So they have some awesome t-shirt designs. Got a couple of new ones here for you. The Sun Bowl Champions shirt, 1969. I mean, that's vintage as it gets right there. Check that one out. We also have another one here. The black shirts, getting the sack. One of the old designs, awesome looking t-shirt. Grab that for the USC game. You got to wear a black shirt. Check out FullRideVintageGear.com. When you find the shirt you love, use the code PTFS at checkout for free shipping on that order. Shout out Full Ride Vintage Gear for partnering us here at Play the Fight Song. Awesome t-shirt designs. Check them out today and use the code PTFS. Support a Nebraska brand, people. That's what we do here. All right. This recap is going to be brief because really this team was not good. They didn't have the size. They struggled to move the ball. It took 2.5 quarters for them to cross midfield. Got a lot of reps for a lot of young guys, which is a huge advantage for Nebraska, especially coming into conference play. You add to your depth, let them get on the field. And it's a good confidence builder for the starters, right? To get game reps at game speed, hit if you're the defense. It's all a plus. I mean, no matter what, we got to take care of business, no matter who's on the schedule. These games are scheduled years in the past. So you got to dominate when you're supposed to dominate, and that's exactly what Nebraska did. So don't take anything negative away from playing Houston Christian. It's not like they chose that game just a year ago and just to have a win on the schedule. They did what they were supposed to do. Thought the offense looked good. Thought Dylan, he went through his reps really well. Went through multiple reads, didn't force anything, threw a ball into the wind that got hung up a little bit, but still came away with a nice catch from Dane Key coming back to it. Emmett ran the ball pretty well. His workload's still pretty thick for what it should have been probably against a Houston Christian opponent. And on the outside, I thought Dane Key showed a lot of good things. We heard less from Isaiah Hunter. Ja'Cory Barney finally gets in the end zone for the first time in his collegiate career, which he deserves. He's quite the threat to have. And the young guys look good too. Latif, there's not much more you could say about TJ Latif than what he's shown out there. Granted, he's running against a lot of other teams' twos as well. So I think if you're the guy out there trying to have a quarterback controversy or even using that as a headline, stop. Please stop. DylanRaiola is the starting quarterback in Nebraska, and it shouldn't be viewed any other way. I do think it is important for us to find a way to retain TJ, but take what we got right now because he's pretty damn good. On the defense side of the ball, I thought we were pretty good. They were a good running team. As good as that opponent can be. but they took care of business. They defended the pass well. The play they scored on, just a wild play. We over pursued a little bit, and there was just nobody on the backside of the field. So touchdown, don't look too much into it. We got to give up points at some point, people, and Michigan's going to score points against us. Sorry to break it to you. We're not going to be that team all year long, only giving up 0 points to a bad Akron team. But shout out Akron. They scored this weekend. So let's leave the Houston Christian game there. I really don't think it's worth going too much further into it. The defensive touchdown was awesome, though. We'll say that. Orari getting a strip sack and recovery from Van Poppel. Van Poppel, he got home finally, which we really needed to see out of the middle of that defense. The big time week, a little spoiler alert, but big time week for the middle of that line to kind of get better. And they're going to be huge when it comes to the refs this weekend. So now let's leave the Houston Christian game there. Let's go into Michigan. The preview we are about to do is presented by our great partner over at No Rivals. Shop NoRivals.com, the best hats in collegiate sports. Check them out today. They've got Nebraska. Go on there. They got awesome designs like this, the Herbie holding the football, the white rope, good, comfortable, clean hat, A-frame, tall, all embroidered. Tons of designs. Check them out today. Shop NoRivals.com. Use the code PTFS at checkout for free shipping on your order. But you have a chance to win a free one. Drop your score prediction below for this weekend's game, Michigan-Nebraska. It's only one entry per person, and if your score is already taken, pick a different one. Only the first person to comment the score owns it. If you hit it on the nose, which we had somebody hit it last week, I'm going to send you a free No Rivals cap if you're choosing. So you choose it. We're going to get the cap out to you. Shout out, I believe the name was like Sarah and Taylor Slots, who won the hat last week. That hat's on their way. They picked an awesome Nebraska design. So drop your score prediction below. ShopNoRivals.com. Use the code PTFS for free shipping on your order. Shout out No Rivals. All right. A lot of breathing here going on because I got not too worked up about Michigan. I can't let myself get too worked up in this situation, but it's a big time game. Michigan, obviously one of the most storied programs in college football. We're 4-8 all time against the Michigan Wolverines. It's the winningest team ever in college football, over 1,000 wins to their program. Obviously, Nebraska's up there too, but this is the top of the top, number one. They're 2-1 this season, 34-17 win over New Mexico, who beat the hell out of UCLA, so pretty good team there, honestly. Lost to Oklahoma on the road, College game day in town, 24-13, and then this past weekend drubbed Central Michigan, their crosstown foe, 63-3 in a game that really felt like a get right and what Biff Poggi, who we'll talk about, called a love letter to their suspended head coach, opted suspended head coach, I should say. So Michigan, good program, ranked 21st in the country right now. A little bit different in our Play the Fight Song poll, but still very good ranked team with a lot of talent. So we're going to break them down from the top. Before we do that, let's talk about their associate head coach, now acting head coach, while Sharon Moore is sidelined, Biff Poggi. One of the better names and personalities in college football. He's been with Michigan before. He was listed as an associate head coach back in 2021 through 2022. Then he took the head coaching job at Charlotte, went 6-16 in his 2 seasons at Charlotte. Unfortunately, got canned, retook his role as associate head coach back at Michigan, and he is the acting head coach this weekend in Lincoln. So quite the personality. It's fun to listen to when it comes to press conferences and just any clip out there of him. So if you get a chance, do listen to him because he's a pretty story and character-filled guy. So Biff Poggi will be at the helm for the Wolverines come this Saturday in Lincoln, as Sharon Moore is not even eligible to be with the team. And that is a self-imposed suspension, by the way. So they don't need their head coach to come into Lincoln. Take that personally if you're a Nebraska fan. Honestly, I would. Before we get into their offense and their individual players, I want to kind of look at the rankings within the country and the numbers behind the offenses that we're about to see, because we all know how Nebraska has been successful, right? Playing a couple of really bad opponents, and they weren't bad against Cincinnati, but they had a little bit more struggles than they did the last couple of weeks. So Michigan's kind of a similar story. Both teams, Nebraska and Michigan, have played one Power 4 opponent. But the numbers are a little skewed. I don't want you to see these numbers and be like, man, Michigan's offense is ridiculous. How many points are they going to put up on us? So I put them side by side for you. The side-by-side comparison And the rank goes in the country, by the way. Nebraska's offense, putting up 44 points a game, 540 yards of offense, and averages 7 yards a play. 44 points a game averages is the 10th overall ranking in the country out of 136 teams, so on and so forth down the line. 9th for the 540 mark and 10th for the 7 yards per play mark. The Michigan offense, very similar fashion, but played, I would say, a decent step forward team in Oklahoma, but 36.7 points per game. 452 yards of offense averaged and 6.7 yards per play. The rankings are a little bit further behind, but they've played a pretty significantly step forward Oklahoma team on their schedule. And granted, they only put up 13 points, and we'll kind of get into what Bryce Underwood did against them. But just so you can know, side by side, offensively, these teams have been in a good flow to start the season, and it's really put them out at a good mark. And obviously, if you don't know where the Nebraska marks are at, or you were wondering, here you go. This is kind of gives you an idea. I wouldn't let it scare you, but we understand the skew, right? Everybody, we understand the talent that both teams have played. Let's look behind the numbers here. Why are those numbers where they're at for Michigan on the offense side of the ball? It all starts with freshman quarterback, Bryce Underwood, true freshman. They spent a lot of money to go out and get this guy, one of the best recruits in the country. He's big, man. 6'4", 228 pounds, out of Detroit, Michigan. He's really, really good, man. I mean, everybody wants to talk about the struggles he had in that game against Oklahoma on the road. First of all, first road game in college on the road in Norman, college game day in town. Not a great spot for majority of quarterbacks, but he wasn't horrible. His stats weren't there. He only went 9 for 24 in that game through the air. Didn't really extend plays as well as he wanted to. Really, they couldn't get anything going on offense throughout the game. But Oklahoma and Brett Venables is a very defensive team, as many people know. So I'm not making excuses for him, but I wouldn't let you think like, oh, when they play good teams, he's not great. Like, no, man, this team, this kid, Bryce Underwood, extremely projectable, fast, elusive, big, strong, physical. I mean, he can throw the ball a mile. He's a hell of a player. And Michigan really centers their offense around him, especially now. Like, Sharon Moore has dove headfirst into having Bryce Underwood be the centerpiece of this offense from the beginning. Every run has a little bit of a spin-off option look to let him run, but a majority of their play design is to get him out of the pocket. And that's my one fault I'd give him from what I've seen on film, is when he does drop back, he doesn't necessarily need to throw from the pocket, but he doesn't really want to, it appears to me. Even when he had clean pockets from Michigan's O-line, he wanted to get outside, extend a play, get people out of their assignments, and then find the open man downfield. And he can do so with his speed and elusiveness. So that's what you're going to really see from Underwood against Nebraska, in my opinion. Is I know people are worried about what happened with Sorsby. I think Nebraska will hopefully have developed that talent and the spies that the defense can run the Blackshirts this weekend. They're going to need them, because Bryce Underwood wants to get outside of the pocket. A lot of the play design is based off his rollouts. Even if it's a simple 1-2 look, then they flush him out of the pocket, have all the routes going that way, or something back across the middle that's schemed open. It's a lot of mesh looks through this offense, and it's all centered around Underwood's legs. Also, last week, he got a chance to run a little bit more. He carried the ball 9 times, over 100 yards. People think that's going to be more of the look that we're going to see from him going forward. Is Underwood's, they're going to have designed runs more often than they did the first 2 games. So something to note for sure there. I think the most important piece for the Blackshirts is you have to be disciplined with your assignments, because when he gets out of the pocket, he can extend plays and run for 5 or 6 yards. But when we pull off of receivers to try and go tackle the quarterback, that's when he really beats people downfield, and their offensive skews are higher, and their wide receiver yards per catch are high because of how good he is at doing just that. 46 for 80 on the year for 678 yards, only 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. The Oklahoma game was obviously the big difference maker there, but the 2 touchdowns, because they're still a run-first team. They're going to run the ball 60% of the time, pass it the other 40. That's pretty much the split you're looking at. 14 carries, 108 yards total on the year, and 2 scores. Both of those scores on the ground came last week against Central Michigan for Bryce Underwood. So I know we spent a lot of time breaking him down, but it's very important this week, as everybody knows of what he can do against Nebraska's defense. And we got to cover up the middle of the field, especially when, things break down and the defensive line is starting to get home. We got to have someone there to limit his running ability. In the backfield, this is a very important position. As I just told you, they want to run the ball. And their guy that's going to run the ball is Justice Haynes. He's their running back 1, 49 carries on the year, 388 yards, 7.9 average, and 5 scores. Over 100 yards in each of their 3 games. Go back to the Oklahoma game where they saw a good rush defense and a Venables focus group. He's that bowling ball build, and he went up for over 100 yards. But however, the first play of the second half was a 75-yard touchdown runs. He had 19 total carries in that game, which means the other 18 carries only made up 50 yards. So he did have a nice game, over 100 yards, but 18 of those carries only made up 15 yards, and one big play kind of helped his statistics in that game. So it's skewed a little bit against bad teams. Hell of a running back. Like I said, bowling ball build, only 5'11", 210 pounds. But his kind of plus now, being the point he is, 3 years in college football, he really worked on his elusive speed over the offseason. Everybody said that. Michigan Fan Podcast, all through press conferences, Herb Street in the booth. He worked on his breakaway speed, and it seems to have done him well because in that Oklahoma game and that long touchdown run, he really ran away from everybody on that big touchdown run. And he's going to look to do the same throughout the entire season. I described it as, if he's a bowling ball, it's like Pete Weber, like the very well-known bowler, where it's flying down the lane. And that's just where he is now. But he's still physical. I mean, he's not going to run around you as much as he's going to run through you. He's a BigTen back at the end of the day. Really good between the tackles. But he will get outside as well. A lot of the majority of passing play calls I saw from Michigan were a lot of screen looks. And whether that be a back in motion out of the backfield or a wide receiver bubble screen, Michigan's run it a lot. And I've seen it pretty consistently from a lot of college football teams and put them on that list. The other side of the backfield, their good 1B option, Jordan Marshall. Jordan Marshall came out this week and talked about how Nebraska's a red team and they don't like red teams. And they tried to make a headline out of it. Whatever. They want to focus on Ohio State, so be it. But we are indeed red. He's not wrong, but he's pretty good back. Pretty good 1B option. 30 carries, 109 yards on the season, 3.6 average. Obviously significantly less than what I just told you with Justice, but still a good back. Somebody that you're going to see pretty often come Saturday night, and somebody to know because you're going to want to know him. I mean, he's kind of a similar build, 5'11", 216, a little bit thicker. They're going to use him at the goal line. They want to get him downhill. It's a slow mesh look, like they'll really let the play develop and let Underwood read it, and then they'll give it off to him when he's got full momentum going forward, maybe on a 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2. You're going to see Marshall out there for that exact scenario. On the outside, let's talk about Underwood's weapons, who's going to be trying to get open on those extended plays. Let's start at the tight end position because we're talking Big Ten play. We got to talk tight ends. Marlon Klein, a little out of order there, but their tight end's good. 7 receptions on the year, 101 yards, 14 and almost a half average per catch and only 1 score. Not only is he good in the throwing game and he's a big body, stands at 6'6", 215. He's great in the run blocking game. Just what you would expect from a Michigan guy and a Michigan team, but it's definitely worth noting he's going to be targeted on the outside for Underwood, as well as he's going to be involved in the running game. So you're going to see Klein pretty often here come Saturday night. Going back now to the wide receivers, 3 wide receivers I want to highlight. They're kind of all even around the targets and yards, but they're all good downfield threats. They have pretty substantial averages over the 3 of them. Let's start on the far left, the Indiana transfer Donovan McCulley. He's 6'5". He's their leading target. Huge downfield threat for him right now. He only had 2 receptions last year at Indiana, and he was pretty banged up, but it seems to be the wide receiver 1 spot for Michigan this year. Big body, big time also in the screen game, just like their running backs. He's going to be involved on the outside, either blocking or the guy getting the ball in the wide receiver screen game, which I think we're going to see a lot of. Just get it out. They want to get guys out in space and create one-on-one situations. Guy in the middle, Samaj Morgan. You've seen him play before. He's played Nebraska before. He used to be number 82. He's wearing 0 this year. Quality wide receiver. He's 5'10", so a little bit undersized for a majority of Big Ten wide receivers, but he is their main screen target. He's going to be the guy that's going to be in motion consistently. He'll be running behind Underwood, but in front of him before almost every play, it feels like. He's the guy that they want to get moving, have the linebackers going, anybody out in coverage in the slot. So Hartzog moving back and forth and really create off of that. I think overall, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball for Michigan, they are just trying to create chaos, which a majority of teams are, but I can really see it on film for Michigan, what they're trying to do. And they really want to get one of these three guys matched up on a linebacker and expose that. Far right side, younger guy, Channing Goodwin, the sophomore, they're really happy with him and what they saw in camp. All Michigan formats covered that throughout the entire fall camp, and they want to get him involved in the offense. And he's a good option for them to have. And he will be targeted a few times throughout the game, in my opinion. And he's going to have a couple of valuable reps. So we got to cover these three guys at the main point outside of the run game, and we should find a little bit of success. And Nebraska is one of the best defensive back cores in the country as of now, which is probably to be expected with John Butler as your defensive coordinator. But these three guys will be the main names to know for me on the outside this week. The offensive line, very good. Michigan offensive line, not stunning to have a decent offensive line, right? At the University of Michigan, 3 sacks on the year given up with a quarterback that can extend plays, has good pocket awareness like Underwood. Not easy to give up sacks. So we will see how many, if Nebraska can get home this weekend. It's not something that we've seen very often besides the Houston Christian game, which they had 3 and one of them being a strip sack. Priority number 1 for Nebraska's defense is to get home. Hit Underwood a couple of times. Don't let him scramble out of bounds. Don't let him scramble up the middle of the field and slide for a gain of 11. Like, they've got to get to Underwood. I cannot emphasize that more than what I'm saying to you right now. The whole offense runs through that. So they get home, I think we'll be in good shape. I think overall for our defense, you got to have blitz dial-ups work. We got to blitz a little bit more often. We have to tackle well on the outside without over-pursuing. They do have backs that are quality cutters where they can put their foot in the ground and go the opposite direction. That's what Justice did on his long touchdown run against Oklahoma. They like to run a couple of reverses. They like to utilize that motion they get out of the backfield for reverses. And if we get off assignment like we did against Cincinnati a couple times, or over pursue and let people cut up and cut back, we're going to create a lot of big play situations and scenarios for Michigan. So that is a huge priority for the Black Shirts come this weekend. Let's flip it over to the defense now. The defense at Michigan, very highly touted, very highly regarded. People want to talk about them. Top 15 defense in the country, right? All this talent that they brought in, even though they lost a lot to the draft a couple of years back. They are good. The ranks are there. Granted, they've got a couple of skewed games. We already went over that, but 14.5 points a game, all that they're giving up, ranks 25th in the nation. 271 total yards per game is all they're giving up. 3.9 per play. And then they're not great on third down, not great on fourth down, but better than majority of college football as they rank in the 40s in those categories. And then their opponent red zone scoring, which is something that is of note for this Nebraska team so far, especially inside the 10, like Rhule broke down on his presser today. They give up 77% of the time they give up points in the red zone. Nebraska's at like the 69% mark, and inside the 10, it's less than that, which is not great. And a point of emphasis this week. So we get to the red zone. We got to come away with points. Not groundbreaking news there, but it's a good defense. They're going to blitz a lot. They blitz from multiple angles. They consistently have linebackers on the line of scrimmage to stop the run game, add those blitz packages in. Dylan's got to get the ball out early at some points. He's got to know what they're coming at him with. I think you're going to see a lot of pre-snap checks this week. I think when he sees the lineup, he's really going to change some things up. You've seen him get more comfortable with that in year 2 here. And the cornerbacks will blitz too. That's something of note. If we have guys lined up 3 trips right, trips left, and they're bringing a cornerback in, we got to get the ball off to something early, or get a tight end out of the flat and get Lindenmeyer moving, because we know how good his hands are, even though he had a drop last week. But the couple of guys I want to highlight on this defense, there's 2. Number 1, you're going to know him, Ernest Hausmann, the former Husker, the Columbus, Nebraska native, leading tackler on their team. 20 total tackles this season, 9 solo. He's fast. He's a really good off the edge. He should be in the scarlet and cream, but unfortunately he'll be in the maize and blue this weekend. Obviously a guy we got to take care of. We got to block him. He's going to be in the backfield a few times. And I hope Nebraska fans can give him something to regret. I hope the atmosphere he really can see, especially in a big-time moment where Nebraska's undefeated. I hope he has a little bit of regret leaving Memorial this weekend, but he's a hell of a player. and a Nebraska native, so you can't talk too much about him. On the outside, one guy I want to highlight, Brandon Hillman, 6 foot tall defensive back, really good presence for this group and really one of the leaders out of their DB group. Handles out routes extremely well for majority of college corners. He'll be a Sunday guy eventually, and he's a pretty sure tackler. So Hillman will be a guy that I expect to be covering Dan Key. He'll drop in the safety look sometimes. And Isaiah Hunter, I think Nebraska has like a good plethora of weapons, and we're going to need them all because they defended the pass pretty well, even against Oklahoma, but they got beat a few times. So if we can get Dylan the protection that he needs back there, give him some time, we should be able to get the ball downfield a few times this Saturday night. The defense is really overall a group effort for Michigan. And I gave you 2 guys, but really they swarm to the ball. Everybody's involved. They all kind of have their roles and are capable of playing a majority of them. So you're going to see blitzes from different guys that aren't pictured on the screen. You're going to see playmaking ability in the backfield from their defensive line, which nobody's highlighted on the screen. So it's really a good group overall, and it seems like they've meshed well so far. But they've given up their points, don't get me wrong, like 24 to Oklahoma, even 17 against New Mexico. Like there's going to be chances this weekend, and you would expect for Nebraska to score. I think Nebraska can get to, mid to upper 20s of points, and hopefully that doesn't give away my score prediction. But I think there's a good opportunity here for Nebraska to put up some points against Michigan, which we haven't done in the past. Nebraska hasn't beat this team since 2013 in the Amir Abdullah option game in Ann Arbor. They got drubbed by them last time they played, 45-7. And then the first Frost year, it was like 56-10. So we owe them one. And this is a great opportunity for Nebraska to get back in Memorial Stadium in a big-time win. In my opinion, it's the biggest game in MattRhule's coaching career in Nebraska so far, and I don't think many people would disagree with me. Overall, as we go into our score prediction, it's a baseline for me. We've gotten the good side. We've felt good the last couple of weeks, putting up a bunch of points, not giving up, taking care of business. You win a 1-score game and come up with a big play in week 1. But this will give you an idea in Big Ten play of how it will go against, quality opponents. I'm not saying Michigan's national title contenders, but they're closer to that than a majority of the conference. So if you can take care of business here, you got to feel better about some of the other matchups later in the season. I think this is a big time opportunity for Nebraska, as from a fan's perspective, which is what this is, to erase question marks or make them into statements. And it's early. It's going to set the tone for the rest of the conference season. But my best advice is, unfortunately, groundbreaking news. I won't be in the stadium this weekend. I have a bachelor party. Don't yell at me. Don't come for me. But be loud if you're in there. I think this is going to be one of the more fun games as a fan. Equally as fun to the Colorado game last year. And not a morality thing, but I think it's time for Nebraska to come out on the national stage. CBS 2:30. It's usually the primetime SEC slot, right? For Nebraska to make a statement. Because there's going to be a lot of teams and a lot of people tuned into this matchup. It could be a little coming out party for Nebraska if they are the team that we want them to be. All right, score prediction time. Drop your score prediction below. You can share the same one as me. Only one person can do that. But I think Nebraska gets it done this weekend. Now, a little bit of Kool-Aid. I'm a fan. A little bit of Kool-Aid. But I think Nebraska gets it done. I got Nebraska in this matchup, 27-23. I think Michigan's going to score their points. They got too much talent to not score their points. Haven't seen it from Nebraska's run defense to make me feel great about it. But I think Nebraska's offense can do enough to win the football game. I think that's what it'll fall upon. I think we can get 1 or 2 stops that really gives Dylan and Emmett a good opportunity to slow the game down, control the clock, have the ball, and give us the upper hand. I like Nebraska 27-23 in the Bussin' Bowl. Got a little small picture. Shout out Will Compton in the middle, holding the Bussin' trophy. I think Nebraska will get to raise that for the first time since its existence. I just have this feeling it's going to be that time for Nebraska to get this win. And that's a 1-score win, people. That's another 1-score win. I think the atmosphere is going to be a lot for a true freshman. I think it's going to be louder than Norman. I think it's going to be harder for him. Even at a 2:30 slot, I think this fan base is too hungry to let this one slide. 27-23, the confidence, the experience on the outside for Nebraska, too much. And I like Biff Poggi, but it should piss Nebraska fans off to no end that they let Sharon Moore be suspended for this game. It's disrespect to the program, and I think Nebraska takes care of business this Saturday night. So that's what I got. We'll recap this one come next week. Sorry, I'm a little late on this week's video. Make sure you shop our great partners, fullridevintagegear.com, code PTFS for free shipping, and shopnorivals.com for the best hats in the game, code PTFS for free shipping. I love you. Watch the college football show tomorrow night, full show previewing the week 4 slate. Go Big Red. We'll see you next time. Drop your score prediction. Go Big Red.